Well, it is 6th versus 8th in the Premier League as Tottenham Hotspur, on the back of two back-to-back defeats at home, look to improve their home form up against a resurgent Manchester United, having won 3 on the bounce but drew last week against Nottingham Forest. It's an opportunity to put points on the board here, and we will see that top 4, top 5 and below shape up today, because Sunderland play Arsenal later on and Chelsea host Wolves at the late kickoff today. So there will be a lot of expected movement in the top half of the league. Spurs, with that 4-0 victory against Copenhagen midweek in the Champions League, would have given them a lot of confidence after that tepid display against Chelsea, where they were roundly beaten on this very ground. Tottenham Hotspur, well, they have a lot to be optimistic about. I think the way that Thomas Frank has set them up has been different, yes. After having conceded far too many goals last season, you can understand why he's been a lot more conservative with his lineup and the way that his team are playing here. He still doesn't have Dejan Kulusevski, nor does he have James Maddison, so he's had to adapt to his two most creative players missing. For Manchester United, no Benjamin Šeško in the lineup, which means Mateus Cunha will lead the lineup with Amad Diallo possibly on the left-hand side, and on the right, the in-form player of the month, Brian Mbeumo, who has been absolutely brilliant for them. Despite his production not being too high, I think the way that he's settled in has given them a lot of pause for cause. Well, the two teams in their final huddle before the start of kickoff. This will be an opportunity to really put the pressure on and get some momentum heading into the season. It's match week 11, only goal difference separating Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United. Either team who win this game will be in potentially second position, with Liverpool taking on Manchester City on Sunday. Match week 11 will see a lot of movement on the top half of the league. This game will really set the tone, as we're off and running for the start of kickoff here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs, on the back of two back-to-back defeats on this very ground, will look to put things right. They have made a few changes, with Brennan Johnson playing as a right winger today. Kolo Muani is a centre forward, with Richarlison on the left-hand side. It's a bold move, this, from Thomas Frank, having to rest Mohamed Kudus. He had mentioned that his star attacker had put in so much work that he really did need a bit of a rest with the international break coming up. Well, Ruben Amorim. Oh, there's a misclear control there from San Lamens. Takes his eye off the ball. It's very sloppy from the young Belgian. It's a needless corner too for Tottenham Hotspur under absolutely no pressure. He really makes a hash of this one. And if Tottenham Hotspur score from this, whoa, inquiries will be have to ask here. But early chance for Spurs. United haven't beaten Spurs for almost 3 years. I would say 3.5 years. 2022 was the last time they beat Tottenham Hotspur. They won home and away when Erik ten Hag was the manager, but a lot has happened since then, as Pedro Porro gets ready to deliver this one. Nobody at the near post there. Mickey van der Ven, the top scorer for Tottenham Hotspur. You see his marauding runs from centre-back. Can he do something with his leap here, with Christian Romero back in the starting 11, the captain for Spurs? A welcome sight for Thomas Frank. A lengthy delay before the start of the corner being taken. Pedro Porro hardly warmed up here as he drives the ball into the box. The keeper is on the deck, but there's far too much on it as Kolo Muani can't get his header on it. Well, San Lamens will be breathing a huge sigh of relief there, but I think he was bullied off the ball far too easily here. He's caught in no man's land and he's gone to ground. So Manchester United will be asking their young Belgian to just settle in here. Oh, I'm having a terrible head. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Manchester United yet to get going. No Benjamin Šeško in the starting 11. Spurs playing with a better focal point in Kolomuani. Here's Shaw. Keeps his position at left centre back. Maguire. Oh, Bruno Fernandes crunched in there, but fairly in the eyes of the referee. Xavi Simons, who's come under a lot of criticism this season. We need a big game here with the world watching. Much better there from Lamens. Again, those long balls will not be held up by Manchester United, but the second balls will have to be picked up here. Romero and Van de Ven are monsters in the air. They will look to try and put Matheus Cunha under a lot of pressure. They will have to be touch tight to him. We know that is Christian Romero's style, where he really goes charging in, doesn't allow the centre-backs any time here. Spurs pressing high up the pitch here. Some early fouls with João Palhinha crunching in. The Portuguese centre midfielder on loan from Bayern Munich didn't get the game time that he was hoping for after his big money move from Fulham. Here's Patrick Dogu back at left-sided wing-back after Dalot played there in the game against Nottingham Forest. Forest were absolutely brilliant in the second half. They should have won that game. But it was Amad Diallo's late heroics. That was a cracking strike to bring his team back level, though. Could have won it in the end too. Goal line clearance there from Murillo, if I'm not mistaken. Amad onto the right hand side. Here's Mazraoui playing as right wing back today. Trying to combine here as Casemiro drives the ball into the box. That is brilliant control there from Patrick Dogu, but he's lost out here. And Spurs motoring forward. Here's Brendan Johnson. Good play there from Casemiro. Oh, what a pass this is. But there's far too much on it. I think that was João Palhinha's pass on the half volley. It was a beautiful cutter of a pass. Was that Brendan Johnson? I'll have to have a look there. Nearly inch perfect. Bryan Mbeumo can really stretch the pitch on the left-hand side, and he gets there first. Easily cleared, but the offside flag has been raised. But Bryan Mbeumo, he can play on both wings, especially if his team are counter-attacking. He's got lightning pace. And if he can use that left foot first time, he can cause a lot of problems. Manchester United will need a box threat here. Without Benjamin Šeško, they will have to get Bruno Fernandes committed at the edge of the box. So will Amad Diallo. Here's Pape Sarr. In midfield with João Palhinha to Pedro Porro. Good football this from Spurs, but they've been forced all the way back to Vicario. Nice pass there by Van de Ven to Richarlison. Spurs moving it one touch. It's not enough on the pass there as Maguire cuts that out. Oh, it's given away by Casemiro. De Ligt picks the ball back. Expertly controlled there from Matheus Cunha. Beautifully done. It was hit with him with pace. The way he brought that down was masterful. Here he is. Cunha gets robbed off the ball though. And here's Xavi Simons on the left-hand side. He's got Richarlison for support. Is that a foul or he's just lost his balance? But Pape Sarr has picked up the ball, but he's lost out by Matheus de Ligt, who's very strong in the challenge. Good play there from the Dutchman, and it's a cute, clever pass for Bruno Fernandes. The Manchester United skipper surveying his options. Goes for Cunha. Closed down immediately. Here's Fernandes. Oh, beautifully done. It's Bryan Mbeumo who goes for the unselfish cutback. But no centre-forward movement. He could have gone for goal. The offside flag raised again. That was a brilliant pass there from Bruno Fernandes. Caught everybody by surprise. There's a reason why Bryan Mbeumo was offside. Look at this. Oh, he is on, you know. He absolutely is onside. And he goes for the cutback. Nobody there. Somebody was there to tap that in. That goal would have stood. So Early warning signs about what Manchester United are all about. They can turn defence into attack in a blink of an eye. Well, Spurs will be rocky. I mean, the way they played against Villa and Chelsea at this ground, very poor. I mean, they were deserved home losses. So before the international break, if they can put things right, give them a lot more to cheer about. Kolo Muani on the right-hand side asking too much of Brennan Johnson as he just looks to push and run there, the Welsh winger. When I say Welsh winger, there's only one player that comes to mind, and that's Gareth Bale, isn't it? Absolutely elite in that position, the right winger themselves. Brennan Johnson with a heavy touch, trying to play in that channel between the centre-back and the left centre-back. The men's goes long. And Mbeumo's touch is very good. Plays a 1-2 with Cunha. Xavi Simons helping out. Does very well there. Brilliant. Oh, but he couldn't keep the ball in play. Unfortunate, but applauded there by Thomas Frank. Has drawn a lot of flack, Thomas Frank. But Spurs fans cannot have selective amnesia. I mean, the way that they played last season, the amount of goals they conceded, 22 defeats in the league? You have to give a solid manager time to just build the foundations. Mazraoui to Harry Maguire. Seems to be playing the big games for Manchester United. Talk about resurgence after being heavily criticised and maligned. Fair play to him to get a spot back in the starting 11 for these big games. And Mbeumo takes a bit of a chance. Here's Maguire. Finds De Ligt. Again, Manchester United very slow moving the ball. The defenders taking an age before they release, and you can see there Pape Matar Sarr is encouraged to put the pressure on to force Manchester United to play it long. That's good defending there by Joao Palhinha. He is touch tight to Mbeumo. Mbeumo back to goal is such a powerful athlete. The way that he just touches and turns away from you. He's decisive with his touches, which makes him so dangerous in those forward areas. That's why when you're touch tight to him, you try and win the ball. Just make it uncomfortable for him to turn. Here's Pedro Porro to Mickey van der Ven. Top scorer at the club. Jet Spence. Still playing left back with Destiny Udogie. I think he's back on the bench. But Jed Spence has shown that he is a quality fullback. It's an adjustment too as a right-footed playing left back. Not many in the Premier League do that. Johnson has lost out, but Sarr wins the second ball. In Manchester United, almost relying on those quick turnovers here. That's when they're in business. They're asked to control the play. Just feels very laborious in possession so far. Spurs, on the other hand, have been lateral and backwards with their passing, but they are moving it a touch sharper than Manchester United. It's the little things in these games. There's very little to separate you in the table. Vicario punts it long. Richarlison is there and he looks to hold it off against De Ligt. That'll be an interesting battle. Mazraoui with a heavy touch for a throw in for Tottenham Hotspur. Just over 11 minutes on the clock. Both keepers haven't been tested yet. Expected this game to be a tight one. Absolutely, because I think that both teams have scored the exact same number of goals, 17. But it's Spurs' defence that have been far superior to Manchester United's. Well, Kolo Muani has hit the deck here. Harry Maguire is pleading innocence. Muani feels that he's been clattered there. Let's have a look. Is it a flailing arm of Harry Maguire? Muani has the ball. He looks to turn. Ooh, it is a bit of a collision, but there's nothing that Maguire could have done. Just stood his ground there, the big centre half. There's Mohamed Kudus. Started every game for Spurs on that right-hand side. He would have been desperate to be on the pitch. not even on the bench, but I think Thomas Frank has taken the long-term approach, which is the right one. And so far, I felt that his team have more than stayed in this game, have limited Manchester United to very few attacking actions. Good press there by Mbeumo. Can Manchester United have to press in clusters rather than just being a bit more off the cuff with their pressing? Here's Luke Shaw. Harry Maguire. Again, let's have a look at how quickly Manchester United do release it forward. That's a good pass there by Luke Shaw to Mbeumo. Again, Manchester United forced back there. Not able to move it quicker between the lines. They break one line, but they're forced to go back. Here's De Ligt. No pressure on the centre halves. Sideways passing here from Manchester United. Almost asking Spurs to press. Kolo Muani is doing that. They played around to Casemiro, who turns. It's another long ball forward. Very lackluster from Manchester United in that department so far. Here's Palhinha under pressure against his Portuguese counterpart, and Bruno Fernandes is judged to have fouled him. Here's Simmons. Onto the right-hand side is Brennan Johnson. Pedro Porro busting a gut to make the overlap, which he does. Here's Simmons. Again, we need to see a lot more verticality in his passing in this match. Against Chelsea, he was far too passive and almost predictable. Here's Richarlison. Under pressure by De Ligt. Somehow keeps the ball. Does brilliantly there, the Brazilian. Trying to drag De Ligt out of position. Here's Jet Spence. Sarr. Now João Palhinha. Onto the right-hand side. Here's Pedro Porro. Cross comes into the box. Lemens. Ooh, lets that go. Curious decision, but Kolo Muani is there. Keeps that in play. Jet Spence on his right foot. Pape Sarr. Hasn't been closed down yet. João Palhinha. Pedro Porro doesn't have the run on the outside. Forced to go back inside to Romero. Better this from Spurs. Trying to move the Manchester United pieces around, but not with accurate passing. Cleared away by Shaw. Good touch there by Romero. Brings that down effortlessly there, the Spurs captain. It's closed down immediately. Good play there by Xavi Simons. You see him picking up awkward positions for Manchester United to try and defend against. Haven't seen much of Manchester United in the final third. Here's Simmons though. Pedro Porro on his left foot. Cross comes in. Richarlison's header. He makes no contact with it. That's a half chance, you know. Good ball in. Pedro Porro taking the responsibility here. Touch outside onto the left foot. Floats it in. Inch perfect. De Ligt is caught under the flight of the ball. He doesn't jump. And Richarlison, having gotten there, if he gotten some sort of contact on it, could have been a different outcome. Maguire. Again, De Ligt very ponderous on the ball. That's not a good pass there by De Ligt, because you see Ahmad is being put under pressure. As soon as you give him the ball, at best you're going to get it back, but you're going to be under pressure too. So De Ligt has to be a lot more progressive with his passing, but not just progressive for the sake of being progressive. Here's Dogu. Again, Manchester United not able to play out the press here. Good ball in by Brennan Johnson. Luke Shaw's header. It's Pape Sarr, but he slices that well over the crossbar. Again, Spurs playing the better football. Thomas Frank will be marginally pleased with the way that his team have gone about the business. An edge of the box there for Sarr. 17 minutes on the clock. Manchester United yet to get going. Spurs slightly better. say 60-40 the match so far, yet to really test Saint-Lemain so far. So Spurs will have to tick that box very soon. I like the approach that Thomas Frank has taken here with Richarlison on the left-hand side. Gives them an aerial threat, but also he can drag the defenders in different positions, as it's a decent pass there, but maybe too much on it by Xavi Simons. Tries the expansive pass. Has to be a lot more accurate, but that's better. He's looking for the forward passing step by step, I guess, because he really has struggled life in the Premier League so far, but that was a good touch, turn. The pass needed to be a lot more accurate. Almost catches it on the ankle, that pass. Here's Cunha. He's been immediately crowded out. Spurs playing pretty much a rondo game here, trying to just pop it around Manchester United in tight spaces. Well, Amorim has seen his team compete here so far. Haven't given anything away, but need to start stringing passes in the opposition half with a lot more regularity. Here's Mbeumo. Cut an isolated figure so far. Thomas Frank has done very well for Manchester United on the bench. Benjamin Sesko and Mason Mount are there, so good options to bring off the bench if the game dictates it. For Spurs, they've got Audible, one that right-hand side could replace Brendan Johnson. So I think Richarlison has to pretty much play the entire game here. Casemiro, heavy touch. Ooh, that was a very bad touch. Under no pressure there from Casemiro. De Ligt breaks the lines to Ahmad. He's been followed immediately there by Van der Ven. Almost sprints 40-50 yards to keep up with the attacker. Here's Patrick Dogu. Luke Shaw. Impatient here from Manchester United. Patience is good in the opposition half. Casemiro. Oh, very poor pass there by the veteran Brazilian. Sarr. That is a good interception there. Very good read there by Matthijs de Ligt. Mickey van der Ven. You can see centre halves these days, they cannot just stay in position. They have to be willing to make that 40-50 yard dash forward to pick up the attackers when they do decide to drop deep. Fernandes forced to go back to his goalkeeper. Lamens pumps it long. And Spurs have had all the joy when the goalkeeper does decide to go long, because Manchester United have absolutely no size in that department. Paulinho. Kolo Muani was looking to turn. Below 20 minutes on the clock. Nothing much in terms of goal-mouth action. Good spread onto the left-hand side, asking a lot for Xavi Simons. He won't be able to keep that in play as well. Out for a throw-in. Just a lack of quality in the forward areas for both teams so far. Cunha wins the header but loses the second ball. Vicario. Pape Sarr quickly turns. Gets away from Spence. It's a risky ball because Manchester United could be in business. It's Matheus Cunha, deflection and out for a corner. Well, Spurs nearly give it away there. Matheus Cunha is very sharp as he reads the situation, takes it around Romero, hits him on the arm, but he doesn't appeal for it because he feels that there's a good opportunity. Goes for the shot, but Sarr with the interception. Corner here for Manchester United. They're first of the match, nearly halfway through the first half. Again, it's just moments that Manchester United are living on. Corner comes in by Bruno Fernandes, cleared away by Richarlison, appeals for handball, waved away by the referee. Richarlison quickly gets away from there. Here's Amad Diallo. And that's where you want Amad to just be a bit more positive with his movement instead of going back to the centre halves. Casemiro. Cunha. Good take there by Maguire, playing as the auxiliary centre forward as Dogu puts the ball in. Cleared away for another corner. Manchester United now looking to crank up the pressure. Cristian Romero asking where was the pressure on the ball. Yeah, that's fine. No, that's not a penalty. It's a shocking appeal even. Easily cleared that away. Throw in for Manchester United. Patrick Dogu will look to launch this one into the box. Harry Maguire is a real threat. So is Casemiro, who scored a couple of goals in the Premier League already. And Ruben Amorim would have been enthused with the 3 wins on the trot. Chelsea, Liverpool and Brighton. Those are 3 good teams that Ruben Amorim got 9 points against. But that game against Nottingham Forest just showed you that Manchester United are nowhere near being that consistent team. But a victory here in a tough away ground. Mind you, they haven't won against Spurs in over 3.5 years in the Premier League. That Europa League final was a game of fine margins too. It was Postecoglou versus Ruben Amorim. Postecoglou has been sacked twice since then. Pedro Porro lost out to Brian Mbeumo, who's pressed very well in this match. Here's Maguire playing as left winger now. He's been all action as he gets the ball into the box. And Mbeumo's off balance and he can't keep that in play. Goal kick for Tottenham Hotspur. In the last about 20 minutes, we have seen more of Harry Maguire as the centre forward than Matheus Cunha. Just fired that at Brian Mbeumo. You don't really have much you can do there in terms of having a good first touch. Let's see how Spurs build out the back now. Good play there by Palhinha. Van de Ven. United with a high press here with 3 players prowling around the box. Pedro Porro under pressure. Spurs played out very nicely. That's a very errant pass there for Harry Maguire. Very poor. We'll see that Richarlison and Kolo Muani are switching positions here. Both play as that centre forward slash left-sided attacker. So that interchange will be very interesting to see. Mazraoui has kept it in somehow. Here's Amad Diallo. Nice play on the right-hand side for Mazraoui for the first time, who's made the overlap, but his pass doesn't find his teammate. Fernandes puts pressure. Oh, brilliant from Richarlison. Here's Xavi Simons, drops the shoulder, and he's making his way forward. Is Xavi Simons crowded out. And that's good work there by Manchester United. Spurs still have the ball though. Pedro Porro. Good carry there by Xavi Simons. Needed a bit more support. Here's Pape Sarr. João Palhinha. Sarr again. Jet Spence on the left-hand side. Goes beautifully with the step over. Cross comes in. De Ligt gets that away for a corner. But the game has been all about corners so far. I think this is Spurs' 3rd corner. In the 26th minute here, Jet Spence on that left-hand side. Quick step over. Gets away from the marker. Just trying to fizz a low cross in. It was cleared away by Matthijs de Ligt. Spurs' 2nd corner. Manchester United had just the 1. Kolo Muani, João Palhinha, Richarlison, Van de Ven, all in the box. Cristian Romero trying to be a nuisance and just put off San Lamens here. Pedro Porro's ball in. He's got height and it's got swerve. Richarlison somehow keeps it in play. Manchester United looking for the counter-attack. That ball from Brian Mbeumo nearly finding Amad. And Spence is under a bit of pressure. Amad wins that duel on the left-hand side, but he's by himself And on the cover is Brennan Johnson. Okay, it was his pass that put Jet Spence under a lot of pressure. Again, Manchester United living off just quick moments to put Manchester United under pressure here. You can see that Jet Spence was hassled and harried by Ahmad, but once he did beat Spence, Brennan Johnson on the cover does very well. Corner here for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes. Both teams have had 2 corners apiece. Well, Matthijs de Ligt is absolutely fuming there with Brennan Johnson. He's playing the role of a blocker there, because there is a definite mismatch in terms of height and presence in the box. So Brennan Johnson has picked up a yellow card for his antics. Has to be a lot more careful now. It's a foul and a yellow card, isn't it a pen? You know what I mean? Yes, the ball wasn't in play. But in the box, you got to be very careful. He's gotten a warning already. Now it'll be more difficult to really block de Ligt. This is where I think someone like Kolo Muani has to just be on Matthijs de Ligt as a bigger presence. And Fernandes taking an age to deliver. Oh, that's such a poor delivery too. As soon as he stops with the corner, everybody has made the run, is caught flat-footed. Nobody can jump with pace. And then you deliver a ball like that. That is very poor from an experienced player like Bruno Fernandes. Again, a long and hopeful punt forward. Manchester United are playing some tepid attacking football. It's got to be said. From their point of view, 0-0 is the best case scenario, but they can do so much better. And this is where you need someone like Benjamin Šeško who can just hold the ball up and link. Be very disappointed in Amorim if he doesn't bring him on early in the second half. Yes, it's still 0-0 and the result is paramount. But you can put Ahmad as the right side wing back, because you see nothing from Mazraoui on that right hand side either. In terms of attacking forces, they're pretty much living on Bryan Mbeumo trying to do something with quickness and decisiveness. But other than that, it's very hopeful play rather than deliberate. It's been a tough watch so far, that's for sure. I think the Sunderland Arsenal game would have been a lot more fun, but hey. 30 minutes on the clock. Still waiting for a meaningful save in the match. It hasn't happened so far. Punt forward by Vicario. Patrick Dogu wins the first and the second ball. Again, that is brilliant from Mbeumo, man. Under pressure, somehow manages to pick that pass. Beautiful line breaker there by Casemiro. Amad Diallo shows his strength and ability to hold the ball under pressure. Casemiro now. And United not on their toes here. 3 centre-halves have not moved the ball well. Yes, they haven't lost possession, but the way that they've built out from the back has been very pedestrian. Good leave there by Mbeumo. Is Bruno Fernandes on the left-hand side. Is that Matheus Cunha? Cross comes in. Again, very poor cross on his weaker left foot too. Cunha, back heel. Dogu, ball into the box. And Mbeumo trying to adjust himself. And Jet Spence wins a crucial header. Here's Matheus Cunha. Amad Diallo. Cross comes into the box. And Mbeumo's header! And it's 1-0 to Manchester United. They've lived off moments and they've taken full advantage. And it's the player of the month, Bryan Mbeumo, who scored against Liverpool at Anfield, now scores away at Spurs. Great pick out this from Amad Diallo. He's patient and the right decision has been made. But take nothing away from the header from Mbeumo. Vicario was rooted to the spot. And Manchester United have a precious away lead. Well, Spurs don't play out the back well here. You could see Van de Ven's clearance had hit the arm of Bruno Fernandes, but it was to his side. Look, Jet Spence wins the header. United win they've kept it alive. This is an outstanding pick out. Oh, I think Vicario has to do better. He really has to do better there. I think he could have dived, but he just stands still. It isn't a bullet header by Brian Mbeumo. He's got great connection on it. It's right in the corner. United have the lead, and now Spurs will have to come out and play here. Is it going to be 3 defeats in a row at home for Thomas Frank and Tottenham Hotspur? Manchester United, as it stands, in second position. Whew. How many of you would have said that halfway through match week 11? Here's Pape Sarr. Again, Pedro Porro's pass is very poor. Well, my United friends are happy. Oh, that's a push. Oh, that will be a yellow card. Christian Romero, reckless. He goes flying in. Woo. Here's Pape Sarr. Again, Pedro Porro's pass is very poor. Well, my United friends are happy. Manchester United continuing their resurgence. A win here would be 4 wins in 5 games. 4 wins and 1 draw in the last 5 would be an excellent return for Manchester United. They have the advantage of no midweek commitments until the FA Cup resumes in January. No European football, knocked out of the League Cup could prove a blessing in disguise for them, as Maguire's header into the danger area and Mbeumo's, it was Cunha rather. Cushion header cleared away. Fernandes under pressure, and Xavi Simons nearly robs him off the ball there. Here's Amad Diallo. Pushed off the ball by Christian Romero, who's on a yellow card. Does very well to keep possession. Van de Ven. Oh, he takes a chance and uses his pace. Casemiro robs him off the ball there. United now looking to make it 2 very quickly here. And Van de Ven quickly back into position. Mickey Van de Ven, with a rush of blood in his head. I mean, that is not a place to be dribbling, especially under pressure, as Paulinho tries to close him down. Spurs, for all the decent football they've played, and I'm using the word decent very generously, they're yet to test Saint-Lamens at home here, and that has to change. They've got Kolomuani's, Xavi Simons, and Richarlison in attack. One of them has to take a shot here. Lamens. Luke Shaw. Dogu under pressure. Should not foul him there. And he doesn't, and he gets a throw in high up the pitch. Good play there by Brennan Johnson. Throw in for Spurs. They're going to use this as a set piece situation by the looks of it. Pedro Porro can fling this into the box. And there's been a lot of talk about how much time between throw-ins because of the use of long throws back in the Premier League. But you can see that 30, 40 seconds is a lot of time. That is something that the referees have to keep an eye on. Pedro Porro will get another throw in, but this time it comes against him. It will be a throw in for Manchester United instead. Porro furious, but seems that the eagle-eyed linesman quickly picked that up. Well, United about 8 minutes plus added on time in the first half from objective complete for the first 45 minutes. Cleared away for Manchester United. Spence with the header. Richarlison cushions it to Kolomuani. Xavi Simons on the right hand side to Brennan Johnson now. Tries to go on the outside. Good defending by Dogu. Last touch. Comes off the defender. No, it doesn't. Will be a goal kick. Good defending there by the wing back. Brennan Johnson is predictable. That's the problem of having a right-footed playing right wing, because you know he's just going to go on the outside, and that's pretty much what you want for a winger, to go on the outside rather than on the inside where you can shoot, be a lot more threatening with that immediate action. Talking about actions, touches in the opposition box. Yes, it's a stat that you don't want to read too much into, but Spurs have had only 2. That is very poor. Here's De Ligt. Fernandes. Under pressure. Hits that out to touch. It's a throw in for Spurs. And the least Spurs have to do here before half time is to get an effort on target. Otherwise, you can see the home crowd will be grumbling. Speaking of grumbling, really need to get something to eat at half time. Leg day at the gym today. Need to refuel. Here's Palhinha. Matthijs de Ligt finds the funny side of that decision. Free kick for Spurs. 6 minutes plus added on time. You can see Rodrigo Bentancur and Manuel Ugarte, the 2 Uruguayan centre midfielders, both on the bench. Will be starting for Uruguay in the World Cup. Bentancur played against Chelsea. It was a good performance. The way he keeps the ball is very impressive, but I think in terms of verticality and how he really imposes himself in the final third has been lacking, and that's why you see Spurs going with a lot more solidity in their double pivot. Palhinha and Pape Sarr over Bentancur. Brennan Johnson under pressure. Palhinha, nice pass with the outside of the boot pass. Brilliant flick on there by Simons. Ooh, Spurs playing some very good football here. On the left-hand side is Spence. Richarlison, stiff-armed away by Matthijs de Ligt. Very good defending there by the Dutchman. It's that classic NFL thing, isn't it? The stiff arm. You know you may not have the pace. Just put your arm across him. It's better from Spurs. That one was the first time that they really popped it around Manchester United. Doesn't result in a shot on target either. So the best moment with a nothing end to it. 2 Spurs players go for it, but Patrick Dogu comes away with the ball. Brilliantly done there. Dogu. Oh, that's Romero. And he's fortunate that he's won the ball. If he commits the foul there, he could have walked, you know. He's so aggressive with his defending. And he does go crunching in. That's a decent leave there by Richarlison for Simons, but Manchester United clean up. Fernandes, De Ligt. Not a good pass there by the Dutchman, who found himself far too advanced there. Good turn by Richarlison. Here's Spence. Trying to go on the outside. Well defended by Mazraoui. Throw in for Spurs. Again, as I mentioned before, the minimum Spurs have to do here is get an effort on target before half time. That doesn't happen. Just shows you that their response to going a goal down, very poor. Pedro Porro. Spurs win the second ball courtesy of Pape Sarr. Brennan Johnson. Simons on the right hand side. Johnson. Oh, that's very poor. The quality from the Spurs forwards. Johnson on the right hand side. I mean, there's a reason why he's second choice behind Mohamed Kudus, but the drop off is significant. There's the goal that Manchester United scored. It's all about keeping the ball in the opposition box. The pick out there. Oh, I think Vicario has to do better. You know, you look at it from the It's straight at him. I mean, he has to make the dive. It's like he doesn't see it. Nobody's impeding him. That is very poor keeping. As it stands, Manchester United second in the league, 5 points behind Arsenal, who go to the Stadium of Light later on. Granit Xhaka playing against his former club. That'll be a good football match to watch, that's for sure. Sunderland already have a big scalp in Chelsea this season at Stamford Bridge, no less. Regis Lebris has exceeded expectations. They were serious in the summer window, Sunderland. They've made some good signings. Enzo Lafige, Granit Xhaka, as we mentioned before. Nodi Mukiele was an outstanding grab. Here's Sarr. Keeps it short. Simmons, Paulinho, Pedro Porro. Again, it's sideways passing here from Spurs. Manchester United in their deep block here. Nice play here from Kolo Muani. Very good defending there by Ahmad. It was Dogu rather. Corner for Manchester United to defend against. Kolo Muani switching positions. We've seen him start off as a centre forward, played on the left for a bit, now on the right hand side. Mickey van der Ven hoping to get his head on in this. Time running out for Spurs in this first half. Corner for Spurs. Final minute of normal time as Pedro Porro delivers. Cleared away by Matthijs de Ligt. Great header there. Porro reloads. Comes off Bruno Fernandes. Is that a throw in? I think it is. Well, Thomas Frank looking on. They would have been enthused with the start that they've had the first maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Since then, I think some of the football that they've played has been, again, I use the word for both teams, it does apply, pedestrian football. But Manchester United have the decisive moment. Ryan Mbeumo giving them the lead. Porro. Here's Pape Sarr. Pedro Porro. Spurs keeping the ball well. We've got 1 minute of added on time in this first half at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Oh, it's given away needlessly by Romero, who's on a yellow card. He goes biting in. Richarlison helps out and he does brilliantly there. Good tracking back. Here's Romero. Slides the pass back. Very well read there by Luke Shaw. United looking to counter. Here's João Palhinha. Turns away. Jet Spence. Surely the final attack of the first half. Pretty sure there's going to be boos at the end of the first half. I'm definitely going to listen to that. Good switch out there by Spence. Here's Brennan Johnson. Porro on the overlap. Clips the ball in. Doesn't take a touch. It's really poor quality. Well, Spurs have failed in managing to get a shot on target after going a goal down. Yep, it's Bryan Mbeumo with the decisive moment at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Manchester United looking for 4 wins in 5 games. Being unbeaten in 5 games would be a great result, a run of performances for them. As it stands, Manchester United in second position, 5 points behind Arsenal. It's Bryan Mbeumo who's given them the half-time lead. Half-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs 0. Manchester United 1. Well, we're back underway for the start of the second half. The football couldn't get worse, could it? Spurs make a half-time change with Wilson Odobert coming on for Pape Sarr. Or has he... he's replaced Kolo Muani rather, which means that he'll be on the left-hand side, Odobert, and we're off and running for the start of the second half. There's the change being made by Thomas Frank, who would have seen that first half in dismay in terms of how his team have played attacking football. They have not tested Saint-Lamens in goal. On the right hand side, Spurs looking for a fast start into the second half. Saint-Lamens with a very good high claim. We give the Manchester United fans a bit of confidence with that claim there from the young Belgian goalkeeper. Thomas Frank would have really given his team an earful there. That first half at home on the back of 2 defeats in this very stadium is unacceptable. These are the kind of games and the run of games really where the home supporters can really lose trust in the manager. Here's Matthijs de Ligt. He was solid in the first half. Bruno Fernandes didn't have the highlights, but a disciplined performance from him. That's a nice pass into the channel for Amad Diallo, who is onside, and he's quickly closed down there by Christian Romero. Aggressive from the centre half, who's on a yellow card. I'm surprised Kolo Muani came off and not Brennan Johnson. But if you are bringing Odobert on, he has to play on the left-hand side. Here's Sarr. Pushes it forward for Christian Romero to Pedro Porro. Cross comes in again. It's Richarlison, and he doesn't make the contact. But the offside flag has been raised. Just runs off the back of Harry Maguire. Richarlison has already scored a goal of great acrobatics against West Ham this season. He's run off Matthijs de Ligt rather. He's already scored a goal of great acrobatics against West Ham this season. He's run off Matthijs de Ligt rather. And Ruben Amorim would have definitely asked his team in terms of defensive solidity to keep it as they did in the first half. Is Odobert going to be the man for them, for Spurs really to get them some sort of push forward, because it's been too comfortable for the Manchester United defenders, and that cannot be the case at home. Richarlison runs offshore, but it's Maguire's header. Here's Luke Shaw. Buemo keeps the pass, and Manchester United make their move here. Brilliant pass by Bruno Fernandes on the left-hand side. It's into the box. It's Matheus Cunha. Chops on his right foot. Oh, the cutback evades both United players. De Ligt, though, picks up the ball. It's Brian Mbeumo. Cross comes in. Headed away by Mickey van der Ven. Casemiro, he commits, and now Spurs on the counter-attack. Richarlison's pass does not find Xavi Simons accurately. He has to chase after it. Here's Pedro Porro. Spurs looking to turn it up now. Oh, it's a lashed cross in. No composure whatsoever by Pedro Porro. Well, he's been the most dangerous player for Spurs going forward. That says a lot about the team rather than Pedro Porro, who's kept making those runs on the outside. Well, Saint-Lamens has had a comfortable 45 minutes. Did start off in a very nervy manner where he just took his eye off the ball under absolutely no pressure and conceded a needless corner to start off the game. Foul there on Casemiro. Not a yellow according to the referee, as Casemiro continues to man the midfield alongside Bruno Fernandes under Ruben Amorim. He's come under considerable scrutiny. But after match week 11, if he finds his team in the running there, not much of a foul, but Casemiro was bundled over. Here's Delict. Mazraoui on his left foot. See Mateus Cunha playing the false 9 role with very little joy. For United, the obvious move would be to bring on Benjamin Šeško, because they can't live off just the 1-0 lead here. They will want that second, the cushion, because Spurs against Chelsea recorded 0.05 XG, the lowest for Spurs for a very, very long time. Can't get lower really, so they have to play with a lot more forward intentions here, especially at home. I keep saying it, especially at home. If you cannot get these movements forward or patterns and try and get shots away, real questions need to be asked. Here's Jet Spence. Spurs with no shots on target. And it's very passive, very slow play this from Spurs. And now turning it over. Again, asking so much of Jet Spence there. Pape Sarr wins the ball. Simmons. Richarlison loses out to Maguire. Here's Pape Sarr now on the right-hand side channel. Clips the ball in, well defended. It's Mateus Cunha by the looks of it, and they are allowed to turn here. Manchester United, brilliant from Mateus Cunha. Look at this for the carry there for the Brazilian. He wants a foul, he's not going to get it. He's been crowded out by 3 Spurs players. United keep winning the crucial duels here. Cunha, Casemiro on the stretch, keeps it brilliantly. Here's Bruno Fernandes, closed down by Palhinha, brilliant from the Portuguese. Here's Amad Diallo, who got the assist for the first goal. Mazraoui. Now Ahmad. Oh, it's intercepted easily by Spurs and they turn it over. De Ligt wins the first duel and the ball into the channel should be easily defended by Manchester United and Maguire, and it is. Saint-Lamens deals with that expertly as he goes long. And they're asking so much from the Manchester United players to win those aerial duels when they're in their strong suit. Here's Palhinha. Van der Ven. Here's Wilson Odobert. Second half substitute, trying to make his presence known. Could play this from Jet Spence though. Here's Brennan Johnson, drops the shoulder. Pedro Porro, first time ball into the box. Casemiro clears. Palhinha tries to get that on target. It's cleared away. Here's Odobert. Good defending by Mazraoui. Just be a throw in for Spurs. Again, it's 53 minutes on the clock. 8 minutes since the second half. Lamens yet to be tested. Odobert's ball in. Free chance. Lamens with the save. It is Christian Romero, completely unmarked. It looked like Lamens might have just bundled it into the back of his net. Oh, he was right at him. He's made a meal of it. And fortunately for Manchester United, it stays at 1-0. It was a low-driven shot. Corner comes in, cleared away by Casemiro. Simmons. Xavi Simmons now crosses in. Again, these are aimless balls into the box. Cunha allowed to turn. He's been eased off the ball there by Simmons. Surely a foul there by Cunha, and it is. Free kick Spurs. A good effort there by Christian Romero. Knew that he won't get the clean contact, so he had to improvise and go with the back heel finish. Straight at Lamens. That's the first save, and finally a shot on target for Tottenham Hotspur. Free kick, dead center and goal. This is a difficult technique, about 27 to 30 yards from goal, so You're really asking a lot from your player to get this not just on target, to try and beat Lamens from this distance. The wise thing would be to just float this into the box here. Back stick of Romero, Paulinho and Richarlison all waiting. Jet Spence switches it around. Romero can't get his header. It's Joe! Big save! It's Joe Paulinho's effort. Saved away by Lamens, who's had to come into action here in the second half. Spurs now cranking up the pressure. That is a much better save from San Lamens. Romero. Good block there by Luke Shaw. Fernandez hassled and harried. Dogu does well under pressure. Wins the foul. Well, San Lamens with two crucial interventions. This was well worked. It was Joao Paulinho. Catches it well. Goes between the legs of Maguire. So Lamens has absolutely no time to react. All he can do is just punch that away. Well, Thomas Frank has seen his side after over 55 minutes of not testing the keeper. Testing him twice in the span of a minute. Manchester United haven't been much of an attacking force in the second half. Saw this pretty much how it panned out in the first too, where Manchester United were passive but were more focused of keeping their shape and structure rather than go for something more expansive away from home. Sarr's header. Casemiro cushions it down for Luke Shaw, who just punts it forward. Good win there by Pedro Porro. United win the second ball, but they lose out quickly. De Ligt has to deal with this one. Awkward because it will bounce. Mazraoui takes it down on his chest and decides safety first approach. This is the right move here for Manchester United. Benjamin Šeško coming on. Ruben Amorim needing that his team hold the ball a whole lot better in the opposition final third. Clip pass onto the left foot. Cleared away by Mazraoui. Good play there by Cunha. Casemiro loses out. He's got that ball forward. Fernandez sweeps it forward for Brian Mbeumo. On his left foot though, on the left flank. He's got the overlap. He uses it. It's Dogu with the ball in. He flashes that across the face of goal with power. He's asking far too much for anyone to get anything on it. Manchester United showing that they do have a threat on the counter-attack here in the second half for the first time. Good play there by Mbeumo. Uses the overlap of Dogu, who just goes for power. This is the attacking move that Manchester United desperately had to make. It's Benjamin Šeško coming on for Noussair Mazraoui, which means Amad Diallo now will be playing as the right wing-back. Šeško down the middle with Cunha as the left-sided number 10 and Mbeumo on the right. This is more familiar territory for Manchester United. Fernandez. De Ligt. Maguire. Back to Shaw. Inviting the Spurs press, and Mbeumo has been bundled off the ball unfairly in the eyes of the referee. In about a couple of minutes we'll have the team news for Sunderland versus Arsenal. I will be doing the live stream for that as well. Big day today with a triple header. United and Spurs, Sunderland Spurs taking on Arsenal. And then at 1:30 India time, we've got Wolves coming to Stamford Bridge. Well, Wolves don't have a manager if I'm not mistaken. They haven't made the change, but they will have 2 weeks of international break to take their time with the decision. And Mbeumo does well. There's a Spurs player on the deck. Might be a foul there, but the referee didn't spot it. Pedro Porro feels that there was excessive force used in the challenge there by Brian Mbeumo. Yep, nothing much that Mbeumo has done wrong there in terms of just putting his shoulder across. Lengthy stoppage here. As we're heading into the final half an hour of action here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs with a couple of efforts on target. Much better in the second half, but they need to continue to pepper the goal. Richarlison down the middle. Wilson Odobey on the left-hand side. On the right, Brennan Johnson has hardly affected the game in the second half. Pedro Porro and Brian Mbeumo quickly make amends. And Spurs need to use their bench here. They have to go with a bit more bravery. This cannot be enough. Whatever Thomas Frank has seen from his team, a bit more encouragement in the second half, but it's still lacking a lot of attacking quality. Šeško closes down Vicario, forcing him to go long, and Manchester United get the turnover. Well, under half an hour remaining for Manchester United to go temporarily second in the Premier League heading into the international break. Liverpool and Manchester City play each other tomorrow. Again, a push pass forward. Luke Shaw. Xavi Simons wins that. Spurs keep the ball in tight spaces very nicely. But United it is that come away with the ball. Luke Shaw bundled over. Not unfairly according to the referee. The defender is out of position. How's the touch from Richarlison? It's very good, and he goes for the quick pass instead of trying to hold up the play. United get the turnover. Cunha. Again, he's trying to take on 3 or 4 players. He's asking far too much from himself. And Pedro Porro punches it to Richarlison. Feeds it forward. It's Brennan Johnson. It's 1-1, but the offside flag has been raised. It was clearly a couple of yards onside. Again, much better of this from Spurs. That is a good pass. Yep, he's clearly offside there, Johnson. It was a good first touch and slotted away expertly. A couple of yards offside was Brennan Johnson. Again, Matheus Cunha has been doing this on a couple of occasions where he has the ball and he's surrounded by 3 players. He still decides to carry the ball instead of trying to lay it off and play a 1-2. And as a result, United are losing the ball in that area quite a bit of times now. Richarlison loses out. Might have gotten a foul though. He has. Maguire commits it. Will Spurs take the free kick quickly after a lengthy delay? Odobey against the challenge of Ahmad goes back to Vicario. Van der Ven. Against a route 1 football being played here by Spurs. Amad Diallo under pressure. He's been robbed off the ball. Chet Spence does nicely. Carries it. Richarlison immediately put under pressure there by De Ligt, who's following the Brazilian pretty much everywhere on the pitch. Here's Mickey van der Ven. Almost feels like Spurs need him, their top scorer, to step up here because the forward players have not done enough. Romero. Here's Jet Spence. Again, keeping it short. Punches it forward onto the right-hand side. And it's a channel pass. Lamens is quickly off his line and clears that away. Well, there is activity on the Spurs bench. We'll wait and see how many will be coming on for Thomas Frank. There's Xavi Simons. Again, he attracts 2 or 3 bodies, so he quickly pops it around. Pedro Porro's cross in. Richarlison, well defended by Maguire. Nicely punched forward. Šeško does well. Mbeumo, brilliant. Ooh, is that Cristian Romero? If it is, he is living on his final life there. Very good defending there by Maguire. Takes it on the chest. Defends that very nicely. Well, Christian Romero has to be careful. That's pretty much his last warning. And 25 minutes plus stoppage time remain in the first half. Brian Mbeumo nearly gets there as Šeško is clearly attracting a lot more attention than Cunha was as the centre forward. Van de Ven to Vicario. And just ushers him out with relative ease there. Just the one substitute coming on by the looks of it. Thomas Frank again being almost surgical-like at the substitutions. It's just one at a time. He will have to throw on a triple substitution if things don't go according to plan. Audible. Pape Sarr. Again, Destiny Udogie on the left-hand side will give them a lot more balance and help their build-up. Here's Pedro Porro. Goes around the outside, tries to drill the cross. He won't get a handball for it. Again, Mbeumo working tirelessly there. Manchester United look to pinch it. Instead, it's Spurs who win the ball back. Quick 1-2 being played, but the passing again from Brennan Johnson leaves a lot to be desired. But Pedro Porro's coming off, which means Jet Spence will now switch to right back, and Destiny Udogie will slot into the left back position here. The Italian left back, who's had quite a few of the injury issues since last season, now seems to have lost his starting spot to Jet Spence. Now in the left back position here as Manchester United have looked pretty comfortable away here. 4 wins in 5, unbeaten in 5 is quite the turnaround for Ruben Amorim. In Spurs with all of the ball, Manchester United just covering the spaces. Decent clip forward. Looks to win the ball on that challenge. And Spurs can definitely up their tempo here. Richarlison holds off Luke Shaw, gets it into the box. It's Pape Sarr on his left foot. Decides against the shot. Simmons lays it off. Here's the substitute, Destiny Udogie. Pape Sarr now on his right foot, chops in nicely, feeds it on. Udogie on his right foot now. Destiny Udogie, oh, he nearly finds the pick out. Spurs now cranking up the pressure. United don't have the outball. Palhinha. Pape Sarr. And Spurs keeping the possession well here. Palhinha again. Richarlison turns it around the corner for Destiny Udogie. Amad Diallo is there and he prevents the corner too. Good defending by the young Ivorian. It's Sarr on his right foot. Cross comes in. Easily cleared by Patrick Dogu. Good punt forward for Benjamin Šeško, who's curved his run and he's managed to stay on side. Good play there from the Slovenian. Traditional centre forward play that just allows his team to get up the pitch collectively. Maguire seems to be struggling here, just holding the back of his thigh, maybe the hamstring. United do have Lenny Yoro on the bench, which means Matthijs de Ligt will just slot in as the centre back. And Yoro will come in as the right-sided centre-back as Ahmad plays the ball forward. Bruno Fernandes, it's a brilliant touch, but he can't get that on target. He goes for the scooped effort. And Vicario, a relieved man. Brilliant pass this by Amad Diallo. Bruno Fernandes breaks his neck to make that forward run. Good chest down, brings it down nicely. He's on the stretch. There's a bit of pressure coming in there by Paulinho, which throws him off. Triple substitution coming on for Manchester United. As you mentioned before, Harry Maguire, they won't be taking any chances with him, with Lenny Yoro looking to replace him. And we're going to see Mason Mount coming on. Well, there's the triple substitution. Manuel Ugarte, Mason Mount, and Lenny Yoro coming on. Mateus Cunha. His race has been run. Also, by the looks of it, maybe Bryan Mbeumo's too. Manuel Ugarte will slot into the midfield area alongside Bruno Fernandes. As Manchester United just look to take all 3 points here. Fresh front line for Manchester United with Sesko and Mount. Will they be a lot more attacking in this final phase? Here's Mount quickly on the turn. Finds Amad Diallo. Ugarte with his first touch. Confidently keeps the ball here. Well, it's Fulham versus Everton next. With Arsenal taking on Sunderland, the Stadium of Light. Cunha, Casemiro and Maguire off. Mount, Yoro and Ugarte on. Good header there by Mbeumo, and Vicario is quickly off his line. You could see Benjamin Šeško was just waiting to get to the end of that. The offside flag also was raised. Almost expect it to happen the other way around, where Šeško wins the flick-on header and Bryan Mbeumo gets to the end of it. Saw that against Chelsea in the 3rd minute, where Rob Sanchez picked up the straight red card. It was the Šeško flick-on for Bryan Mbeumo. Bruno Fernandes at the edge of the box nearly finds the pass to Patrick Dogu. Cleared away. Here's Delict. Yoro. Amad Diallo forward for Šeško. It's Mason Mount. But Šeško has the high boot there on the Spurs captain. Foul and a free kick. It was Romero putting his head where it hurts on that occasion. Šeško trying to bring that down with his right foot. Well, Spurs have to throw the kitchen sink here. It's as simple as that. Again, the substitutions haven't really screamed desperation from Thomas Frank yet. We've got 16 minutes for stoppage time in the early kickoff here on Saturday, as game week 11 just begins here. The international break is next. 2 weeks of no Premier League football or any club football will be a real dampener. Might just throw Manchester United the momentum that they have in the last 5 games. They worked this very well on the left-hand side. Here's Patrick Dogu. Goes on the outside. It's another lunging effort there by João Paulinho. I think the foul has been given, and he's fortunate not to pick up a booking here, because he lunges in. It's a clear foul and an impediment on Patrick Dogu. It's a free kick for Manchester United. West Ham Burnley too. Bottom of the league clash there as Nuno Espirito Santos takes on Scotty Parker. Well, final 15 minutes, United looking for the cushion while Spurs still search for the equaliser that has evaded them since the start of the second half. Bruno Fernandes will take this free kick here from the left-hand side. Fernandes delivers. It's got pace on it. It's cleared away. Vicario gets there first. Good goalkeeping. Spurs looking for a quick move on here. Here's Destiny Udogie. Gets away from Mason Mount. Good pressure applied by the Englishman. Here's Romero. Jet Spence. Odegaard picking the ball deep in his own half here. Not what he was brought on to do. There, Xavi Simons. He's got the free kick. Good play from him. Tries to bring that down on his chest and absorb the contact. Brave frame. But again, Spurs, they really do need an injection here of real quality. You see that Bentancur and Matthias Tell looking to come on. Ooh, Spence has lost out, but Palhinha mops up. Here's Christian Romero. Palhinha gets away from Manuel Ugarte. Here's Odegaard. Oh, it's such poor quality there from Odegaard. Can't get away from Ahmad. He's picked the ball up. Clever pass there. Mason Mount finds Benjamin Šeško to make his first impact of the match. But it's Jet Spence who's quickly on scene and robs him off possession. Good pick out there by Mason Mount. Really punches that with the weight of pass needed there for Šeško. Fernandes. Clever reverse to Patrick Dogu on the left-hand side. Loses out. Now Xavi Simons. Is his number coming to an end here? We are seeing the likes of Tell and Bentancur coming on. Here's Simons. Richarlison. Simons again. Good 1-2 played by the pair. Again, Simons has to release that quicker. And it's Amad Diallo who's looking to break here. Waits for a bit of support. He's done very well. Mickey van der Ven is quickly onto the scene as Spurs will look to make the double substitution. Jet Spence is on his haunches there because of that contact suffered from Patrick Dogu. It was a necessary one. Simons and Palhinha off. Matthias Tell and Rodrigo Bentancur coming on. Yet another game where Xavi Simons has not been able to affect the scoreline. Udogie gets bundled off the ball. Patrick Dogu has picked up that yellow card for that stamp on Jet Spence. Here's Bentancur with his first touch. And looks to turn. Good pass between the lines for Pape Sarr. He's got options. He goes on the right hand side to Brendan Johnson. Cross comes into the box. Oh, it doesn't find either Odegaard or Richarlison. Mason Mount. Oh, he might have conceded a corner, but I think the last touch does come off. Destiny Udogie. Will be a goal kick for Manchester United. Mason Mount doing exactly what was needed in that situation. Tracked back and got the possession as Diogo Dalot is coming on for Patrick Dogu now. Into the 80th minute, there was a good shift there by the left wing back. Diogo Dalot now will be coming on as the substitute left wing back. Started the game against Nottingham Forest. Got dropped for this game. Now coming on to shore things. And since Lemons had that couple of saves to make early in the second half, it's 80 minutes on the clock. Since then, he's had another comfortable half of football. Richarlison, good first touch. Looks to spread it out, but it's not an accurate pass. Diallo picks that up. Here's Ahmad. Any Euro? It has been a game that has lacked real attacking quality. Again, teams are not able to keep the ball. The game is all about the turnovers now by the looks of it. Here's Udogie. Pape Sarr. United in their mid-block here. There's absolutely no space for Spurs to play between here. They have to use the width. Manchester United defending with a back five here. Bentancur tries to get away from Bruno Fernandes. Sarr. Richarlison holds the ball off. Bentancur gets that forward and prods it to Richarlison. Can't get there first. Ahmad just clears that away. It seems that Manchester United will be just looking to hold on here for the rest of the match. Get into the shape, invite Spurs forward and maybe pick them off on the counter-attack. Here's Udogie. Richarlison looks for the shot, blocked away by Lenny Yoro. Manchester United looking for the counter. Good play there. What a clip pass. Magnificent play, but Amad Diallo can't bring that under his spell. But Manchester United have had one shot on target, and that was the Bryan Mbeumo shot, which went into the back of the net. Since then, just 4 attempts in the match. Mbeumo with a clever pass. No look, first time for Dalot. Substitute has got fresh legs. Mbeumo back to Dalot. Again, asking far too much. This is where Diogo Dalot has to take a bit more initiative. He's got the fresh legs. Try and drive away from the defender rather than asking Mbeumo time and time again. This is a clever first time ball around the corner by Bryan Mbeumo, who, as it stands, is the match winner. Will the true Brazilians, Matheus Cunha and Casemiro, watch on? Fernandes, Mount, Šeško. Šeško loses out. Here's Wilson Odobert now. Trying to drive his team forward. Good commitment there from him. On the left-hand side is Udogie. Cross comes in. Good turn. Oh, it's 1-1. Magnificent. It is Matheus Tel. Talk about immediate impact. Manchester United cannot keep the clean sheet and Spurs are back level. Snapshot there from Matheus Tel, who had to take it quickly. And now Manchester United will have to respond here. Thomas Frank gets the response that he was looking for. Very good play there from Wilson Odobert. He commits players forward. Destiny Udogie with the ball in. This is very, very good from Tel. Gets away from De Ligt, holds him off and fires that courtesy of a deflection. San Lamens helpless. Spurs level. Well, Spurs needed something, anything to go their way, as the teams that started match week 11 in 6th and 8th, with only goal difference separating the two, looks like they'll be heading into match week 11 level on points. Well, now Manchester United, having done very little in attack, have to try and go again if they want all 3 points. They've got Mount and Šeško. Matthijs de Ligt just bullied off the ball. Lovely touch there by Richarlison. He's lost out. Lenny Yoro on the stretch. Somehow gets there. Christian Romero's playing on the edge. We'll see how Manchester United respond now. Here's Lamens. Ugarte back to Lamens. Game finally having a bit of spice, a bit of jeopardy attached to it. Sheshko wins the flick on. Mason Mount with a brilliant first touch. He could go for the reverse. It's Benjamin Sheshko. Well, it's not convincing from the forward. That's a magnificent challenge on the slide by Mickey van der Ven. Again, that Mount and Sheshko combination has come to the fray on a couple of occasions. Mason Mount, brilliant. And Sheshko, having not taken advantage on it, still on the deck. Here's Odeber. Again, drops the shoulder brilliantly. Pape Sarr. Richarlison leads it forward. Brendan Johnson goes for the cross. Last touch. Doesn't come off Darlow. It's just going to be a goal kick. I'm surprised Brendan Johnson has lasted the course here, as Benjamin Sheshko has not gotten up here. Seems to be holding that knee. Might have been a collision with Mickey van der Ven. Great recovery pace here from van der Ven, who has got no right to get there. And he wins that clean as a whistle. Brilliant. Well, Sheshko has not gotten up, which means that he'll head into the international break on the back of an injury, which means Slovenia may not get their star centre forward. Matthias Tell with an excellent goal. Look at that for a quick touch and release. He knew he's not going to get any more time. Had to pull it quicker away from De Ligt. Took a solid deflection. Lemens was helpless. Ruben Amorim, who was already on his haunches, looking deflated after the goal. Well, Christian Romero is coming off now. He hands the captain's armband to his fellow centre-back, Mickey van der Ven. Which means I think Kevin Danso might be coming on for the final 3 minutes plus stoppage time here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Well, the captain applauded off the pitch. Whether or not he is struggling with some sort of an injury, he has missed time off, so a welcome return for the Tottenham skipper as the Austrian centre-half Kevin Danso comes on to close out this match here. Benjamin Sheshko has spent a lot of time with the medical doctor in the middle of the pitch. He is limping. Don't think he'll be able to carry on by the looks of it. Ruben Amorim might have to make a change here. He goes straight down the tunnel, which means Joshua Zirkzee might be coming on for Manchester United. Disappointment for Benjamin Sheshko. Did not start the game and does not last the course either. Here's Destiny Udogie. Spurs got the bit between the teeth here. 2 minutes plus stoppage time remain. Pape Sarr going to drive his team forward. Good carry from the Senegalese. Oh, it's a poor giveaway, but they win the ball back. Brendan Johnson has had a very poor game from his point of view. Destiny Udogie. Odeber made the impact for the equalizer. Goes around the outside brilliantly here. Wilson Odeber. Cross comes into the box. Great header there from Luke Shaw. Pape Sarr. Kevin Danso. Manchester United heading into the international break on the back of back-to-back draws by the looks of it. It's brilliant from Odeber again. Clip pass away. The left-footed effort is not guided on target there from the goal scorer, Matthias Tell. Minute plus stoppage time remain. Spurs looking the more likely here. Odeber getting into the game. Awkward height for Matthias Tell as the two Frenchmen were looking to combine. Here's Mickey van der Ven. Is he going to have a big save for how this game is going to end? Bentancur. Onto the right-hand side. Jet Spence. Keeps it short. Here's Van der Ven. Kevin Danso. Onto the right-hand side. Brilliant push and run there from Jet Spence. Cross comes in. Delict mans the near post brilliantly. We're into stoppage time here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The Spurs fans finally cheering the team on here. 6 minutes of stoppage time remain. Manchester United looking to hold on here. Van de Ven is going to be attacking the box. Matthias Tell, who scored the goal, now be taking the corner here. Tell delivers. Not cleared away though. It's Wilson Odobert. He looks to curl it. The keeper's wrong-footed completely. And Spurs do complete the turnaround. It's Richarlison. Manchester United's hearts have been snatched here into stoppage time. Matthias Tell first. And now Richarlison for Spurs to take all 3 points if they navigate stoppage time. Ruben Amorim watches on as his team might suffer their first defeat in 5 games. Richarlison with a massive goal. Well, what a moment for the Brazilian. Kept on the pitch. Thomas Frank gets the reward. Look at the reaction from Richarlison. He knows what a massive moment this is. Corner comes in. Who's in the box. This is brilliant. He takes the shot. It was Odobert really, but it is Richarlison who gets a touch on it. Oh, he just flicks his header. Incredible. Odobert's shot. Richarlison getting something of a header, which guides it into the bottom corner. It's going to be Spurs who seems to have snatched all 3 points at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Incredible. Just incredible how quickly things turn in this game. Manchester United will be disappointed and asking themselves the questions that whether or not we could have done more in the second half. They lived off the first goal that they scored. But Spurs, full credit to them. Thomas Frank seems to have gotten a massive result here. But there's still time for Manchester United to try and get one more big attempt on goal. Flicked forward by Ugarte. Destiny Udogie with a good interception. Here's Odobert. He has made some impact since coming on. Brilliant from Wilson Odobert, who gets the foul as well. We'll talk about impact off the bench. Wilson Odobert has done exactly that. The Manchester United fans who've had to travel to North London for this fixture, having seen their team win 3 on the bounce, drop points against Nottingham Forest, and as it stands, will be leaving the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with nothing heading into the international break. An opportunity to go second in the table before Arsenal and Sunderland kicked off. But as it stands, United will have to battle in the middle of the pack. Well, Spurs now in second. United now drop to 8th. Here's Pape Sarr running in the opposite direction. And United not able to keep the ball. Bentancur does well. Odobert keeps it. Lovely touch there by Destiny Udogie, who tries to win the free kick. Ugarte under pressure. Does well. Delict, Fernandes. United playing with a level of intensity that's been missing in the second half. Luke Shaw forward for Mbeumo. Cleared away by Mickey van der Ven, who's made some brilliant interceptions throughout this match. The pass goes straight to the referee. He'll have to take it quickly. United desperate to get this forward. Fernandes. Here's the substitute, Lenny Yoro. Onto the right-hand side is Amad Diallo. Looks to drop the shoulder, go on the inside. Good defending there by Wilson Odobert. He's been my man of the match, Wilson Odobert. Luke Shaw on the left-hand side. Waits for options. Mbeumo now trying to drag his team forward. Goes for the cross, takes a deflection. It has, and it will be a corner. This literally is last chance saloon for Manchester United to try and drag a point away from North London. A final minute of stoppage time. San Lamens making his way into the Spurs box. United throwing the kitchen sink in the final minute of stoppage time. Bruno Fernandes to deliver this one. Ruben Amorim looks along nervously from the sidelines. Fernandes delivers into the box. Header on target. It's Matthijs de Ligt. It's 2-2. It's the late show. Spurs don't defend. Matthijs de Ligt at the back post with a towering header past Vicario. And it seems that Manchester United will leave North London with a point. Well, the corner conceded in the final minute of stoppage time. Richarlison thought that he had given his team all 3 points. Instead, it's the big centre half from Netherlands who was unmarked at the far stick. This is a very good run from him. He's totally unmarked. And that was clearly over the line. That from Spurs is poor. Somebody has to be on de Ligt. Instead, a free header to the centre half in the final minute of action. Which means both teams will share the point. Well, Spurs, who were minutes away, literally a minute away from going into second position, now means that both teams will share the spoils heading into the international break. Absolutely incredible end to the match. Richarlison scored late, but Matthijs de Ligt scored even later. Kevin Danso picks up a yellow card. Well, Richarlison's celebration really was short-lived. Well, Spurs as it stands on 18 points. Manchester United on 18 too. Heading into this game, Manchester United were hoping that they could break their 3-year spell of not beating Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. It seems that they won't, but it could have been a whole lot worse for them as the referee blows the full-time whistle at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It ends 2-2. Well, Brian Mbeumo opened the scoring for Manchester United in the first half. It was the Spurs comeback in the second after Matthijs Tell's equaliser, and Richarlison's late goal showed that Tottenham Hotspur were a minute away from taking all 3 points. Instead, they're winless in 3 games at home. And Manchester United, courtesy of Matthijs de Ligt in the 96th minute, gets the late goal, and the spoils are shared here at the Spurs Stadium. Full time is Tottenham Hotspur 2.